Did you ever wish you could have a dig around the Brain Smasher mailbox? Well, we're going to be looking at a collection update. Join me, will you? Okay, what's up? It's been a while. It is I, Brain Smasher. I just uploaded a video about 5 minutes ago, and I'm shooting another one. And lucky you, I just made sure that the sound on this video, barring any difficulties, should be splendorous. And I'm working on a new angle that I think is pretty good. Luxurious, trying to get myself motivated to do more videos and get less bogged down by the technical difficulties that I'm too lazy to troubleshoot or fix. How y'all doing out there? This in the background is real good. Real good. One quick note of housekeeping. I just did a podcast episode with the Heavy Hole podcast, one of the only podcasts worth listening to out there. Will from Afterbirth and I sat down, chatted, waxed poetic about shit like this. It was fun. It's up. You can listen to it now. I haven't really spread it around yet because I'm waiting on the thumbnail for the art or whatever, but you can listen to it. Go enjoy it. I will put a link down there for you to click on, Grandma. So, I've been getting in some things. However, things are gonna get real slow with the collection here soon. I've said this in the past. I don't always follow through with it, but I really need to buckle down for a while and figure out my shit. I just took out a home equity loan for a lot of money, and if you don't know this about me, I don't have a lot of money just sitting around wasting time. So I've got to cool it for a while and just kind of see how the budget works out, and I'm actually a little bit excited about it because I've got a lot of albums up here and buried in albums that I'm not super familiar with. And honestly, the freedom from getting new things in, the freedom from having to be subscribed to the metal vein, I'm looking forward to it, and I have been enjoying it already. So here's some stuff I've gotten in. This might be the last collection update for 10 years. Not that I'm ending my channel, but like I really need to stop focusing on collection updates and get back into doing my regular stuff. So my last video you might want to check out, Midwest death metal demos from the 90s. Awesome stuff I've been finding and listening to. This rules. It's kind of hard to talk about friends bands or bands of people you respect for reasons outside of music or other YouTubers bands or etc. So I'll try not to get too gushy about this, but this is one of my favorite former YouTubers. Pete the Guttural Monk is no longer among the living, but he's still kicking it out there, and I'm proud that he's doing shit like this. If he's going to be doing shit like this off of YouTube, then more power to him. So this is his band Trog with their new one, Horrors Beyond. It's a self-released CD. So these guys have kind of gone through a couple of different iterations. They were called Troglodyte and then Troglodyte, and now they just ditched it all and they're going with the Trog. It's heavy as shit. There's some meaty stompy parts. I don't have a lot of things to compare this to, but man, it is excellently produced. All the musicians are playing with a deathly morbid fervor that I could really get behind. Pete's vocals are... I like how the words are kind of discernible in his voice. Pete knows what's up. Pete knows what he's doing, and this is no exception. You should pick this up. Horrors Beyond, Trog. That's going to be playing in the background. So you can kind of hear, as Pete has said, he came from kind of a hardcore punk kind of background, but once he found death metal back in the early aughts, it was downhill ever since. And so you can kind of hear a little bit of that sort of beginnings. There's a little bit of stompy kind of chuggy kind of stuff, but it's really rooted in a lot of American death metal. It's not trying to be old school death metal like a lot of bands are. I really dig the melodic kind of like sorrowful lead guitar work on it. It's really fun. I haven't had a chance to like give it my full attention and listen to it all the way through, so this is kind of going to be my first time spinning through it. Speaking of haven't listened to much yet, the new Dødskvad is out. It's kind of dropped unexpectedly, so I grabbed it. This is a Norwegian death metal band that like a lot of guys are glomming onto. They deserve a ton of respect. I think we're all just kind of like, when's the album? This is the third EP you guys have done, or EP demo, I don't know. There was a collection CD of demo 1 and 2 that came out on Caligari. This is also on Caligari. But like, you guys keep showing promise, and we're ready for an album. Let's go. Nothing a whole lot to look at there for you tape nerds, but I don't know. I listened to maybe like half a track of this on my phone or something for a minute before I bought it, just to make sure it wasn't like god awful or anything. Not that I was worried, but I need to dig into it more before I like really form an opinion. But I wasn't like, shit, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted instantly. Sorry for the swear words. Here is another one. Been just kind of like, it's been on my wish list. I listened to it off and on here and there, not paying full attention to it. This is an ongoing thing. I don't pay attention to much of anything anymore, but these guys were originally formed under the name of Prodigy and released this as a demo cassette, and it was so professionally done that they changed their name to Oracle and released As Darkness Reigns. So I think it was on CD once they re-released it as Oracle. So this is a reissue from 2022 on Cult Metal Classics. So if I'm not mistaken, this is a US power metal band, kind of hearkening back to your Queensryche kind of stuff. But I don't know, Queensryche kind of, I don't love Queensryche. Honestly, like, my Queensryche is Operation Mindcrime. I'm sorry to be a simpleton, but the thing I like most about Queensryche is Jeff Tate's, like, soaring vocals, and honestly, I think I like Jeff Tate more than Bruce Dickinson. I'm going to say that there. Anyways, we're talking about Oracle. This is great. There's really nothing really amateurish about it. It doesn't sound like beautifully produced or mixed or recorded like a lot of modern power metal does, but this is an early power metal kind of thing. So think Jagdpanzer. I don't really have a lot of reference points for that, but this is Allen Metal from Let's Talk Metal, but it's great. There's a lot of this kind of stuff I'm really picky about, and there's lots of interesting instrumentation going on that make it a fun listen. So I'm looking forward to listening to that even more. one of the reasons I haven't had a lot of time to listen to these releases and more is because I have mostly been listening to this fucking gem. I'm sure if you've been watching the live streams on Heavy Metallurgy, you've seen me just gushing about this thing, but I'm gonna do it again. This is my second time owning this thing. The band is called Lycanthropy. The EP is called The Veils of Sorrow. It is it's not self-released. This came out on a little label called Path to Enlightenment back in 98, 99, something like that. But I've really been listening to this band a whole lot. They've kind of been like the only black metal band that have been really doing it for me lately. And it's weird. It's so devoid of gimmicks. In my eye, I mean, the reason I got rid of this the first time around back in the late 90s was because I thought this was gimmicky. So I was going to say I was either stupid back then or I'm stupid back now, but I think I was stupid both times. So either way, this absolutely rules. It's like, when I say it's devoid of gimmicks, I also kind of mean it's pretty generic. And honestly, that's been appealing to me in a lot of ways. Bands that are just like kind of generic and did something without overthinking it, and are playing a style that I miss, but that I want to hear done well by bands that I haven't really listened to a whole lot, like albums that I haven't, worn grooves into the records of. It's symphonic. It's only like 4 tracks. They're kind of long-ish songs. So, I mean, yeah, these guys were definitely playing like Norsecore, Emperor, Cradle of Filth, what have you kind of stuff. They were probably pen pals with Crimson Moon and Black Funeral and all those guys back in the day. They did record a full length after this, which is not to my liking as much as this EP is, and also their demos are really, really, really good. Made myself a bootleg of their demos. This was kind of like an iconic picture that was going around in like zines, and also I want to say on AOL back in the day. Probably because that chick's really hot. She just looks like, why am I hanging out with you fucking dweebs? So they did those 3 demos, 95, etc. This EP was like 98, and then I think the full length was 2000. The 2000 album, I kind of feel like would be appealing to most like vampiric-ish black metal nerds of today, but I'm a little more discerning, and it's kind of not great. The riffing isn't really as inventive or creative as this EP is, and the production on that full length is a little weak, a little not great. And like, I'm sure you've noticed, I've got this cochlear implant thing going on, so my hearing isn't always what I need it to be. So I'm picky about like sound quality a lot more than I ever have been now. So I picked this up blindly, kind of on a whim in a used bin a couple of months ago. I swear I've like seen this band name around, and seen this kind of infamous, absolutely dated album cover for a long time. Not that this was like a big release or anything back in the day, but the band is called Enter Self with Awaken in Agony, and I've probably like scoffed at this album cover more times than I care to remember. But finally I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna pick that up, because like generic things, non-gimmicky things, old school things that remind me of not today have been really appealing to me. But what really caught my eye was that this came out on Lost Disciple Records, which have a pretty good track record with a lot of black metal bands. So I didn't really know what to make of this. I didn't know really anything about the band other than this kind of like somewhat infamous album cover. So, I picked it up on the cheap for like $10 out of a used bin, and you know what? It's actually really cool. It kind of takes after some of the Floridian Morbid Angel. It really it kind of reminds me of like somewhere after Gateways to Heretic era Morbid Angel. It's really techy. It's really devastating, and it's pretty slickly produced. I mean, the budget certainly went into the sound more than the artwork on here. It was recorded in Morrisound Studios. I want to say these guys were from Ohio, and I can't really think of any other notable, like, they were also in kind of things, but I don't know. It's been pretty cool. I'm glad I picked it up. I have some vinyl. Let's just get the CDs out of the way and we'll get into the vinyl. I did since I'm on the cheap, I kind of felt like buying a pile of stuff. Paragon Records is my go-to for really cheap stuff. And the first thing I found that really caught my eye, that made me like put it in the basket, was this Aggressor Demos compilation. I think I had been talking to my buddy Anthony, who is a big fan of these guys, and he was saying their demos are killer. I've listened to one of these so far, and it was pretty whatever. We were talking in the old man chat today, maybe it was, like, how sometimes it must be hard to decide when you're putting one of these releases together. Like, do you go with the earlier demos first and then go, like, forward chronologically or backward chronologically? It kind of depends on what the best is. So, like, I'm kind of excited to get more into the 87, 88, 89 demos and see what those are like, because Aggressor's debut, as we all know, is flawless. So Paragon is kind of like infamous, I guess, for having really, really cheap discs. You can get, so I think that was like $5. I got this reissue of a Bremelin's, is it Hymn to Bremelin? I think it is Hymn to Bremelin, for I think $5. Old Shadow Records. I don't know. Simon is gonna call bullshit, blasphemy on me. I never really got around to picking this up. This isn't one of those bands that I have listened to a whole lot. I kind of feel like this is a band that is beloved among Australians and really not so much outside of there. I don't really get what the big deal is. It's kind of brutal-ish death metal. I wouldn't consider this an essential. I don't mind that I bought it for $5, certainly. That's certainly an album worth owning for $5. That when they were called Acheron, I really, really, really liked that stuff. But yeah, this just isn't. No, Hymn to Bremelin is Messiah. Anyways, also picked up this one. So far, I don't think you can go wrong with any Anatomia. And this is like a 10-year anniversary reissue of their Decaying in Obscurity full length, $5. Of course, yes, all day. Give me more. So I have not listened to this one yet, but looking forward to digging into that one. I have a really hard time like differentiating between Anatomia releases because they kind of all have the same sort of album cover to them, and let's be honest, they kind of mostly sound pretty much the same. Here's the thing about Paragon: when you order from them, you're gonna check your email the next day or something and see if it's shipped or whatever, and you won't have that there because you will have forgotten to choose the free CD that comes with your order. Now there's like a list of free CDs that he gives away with every order, and you gotta let him know which one you want. Some of them are promos, yada yada yada. I always forget to tell him which one I want. This one, I'm glad I picked this one because this is a band that I love, but I always need reminding that I love them. For some reason, they just, on the surface level, they come across as a really forgettable kind of whatever, what are they kind of band, but they're fucking brilliant. They're a great band that so far has not let me down whatsoever, other than a weird thing about a live DVD bootleg kind of thing that they put out a couple years ago. But this is the Forsaken Symphony from Seer Bliss. This is great. they're such a unique band. They, you know, if the sound of horns, look, I'm going to tell you that if you add horn, if I tell you that I'm adding horns to any black metal band, you're probably going to go, I don't want to hear it. But these guys are so awesome at making, first of all, just like the bass level, at a bass line, they're making great Hungarian black metal that sounds really just like a perfect evolution out of the 90s, but not experimental or too forward-thinking or avant-garde whatsoever. They're really, really like trudging slowly from their origins. They do not reinvent themselves. They do not, you know, break the mold every time they come out. They seem to be just kind of doing really the same thing over and over, and it's great. But they seem to be trying to sell people on the idea that what they are doing is an awesome idea. So beyond that baseline of just like normal 90s black metal that's good, there's a lot of great keyboard work, and it does a lot of to conjure an atmosphere. It reminds me a lot of like the first Arcturus, Aspera, Prime Symphonia. But then beyond that, there's an excellent, really tasteful use of like a somber sort of morose, I don't know, it's the long trumpet thing or something, trombone maybe. I don't know exactly if it's one trumpet thing or many horns or something. I don't know. It definitely isn't overbearing. It's going to take a lot of it to ruin what you're hearing. So if you have any qualms about a black metal band with horns in them, just forget it. It's not that big of an element or like a caveat to this stuff. This band is so good. Yes, I'm really, really stoked to have another release from them. I have like 3 or 4 of their albums, and I just never listened to them, and I really can't explain why. So the one that I was most excited about from the Paragon Order is a band that I kind of also forget about, but I don't feel like anybody knows who Anael is. So they're called Anael. Here. And if you can't tell by that logo, that is definitely referencing Samael. So phonetically, the band name is referencing Samael, and for several of their releases, they were definitely going for a early Samael sound, kind of like up to Ceremony of Opposites, maybe a little bit of Ceremony of Opposites. Now, Anael are hit and miss. That's definitely their thing. So I love that Paragon sells their CDs for pretty cheap. So this is a new-ish album. I want to say it came out in 2021, maybe 22. So it really, really looks like they're trying on a new, you can see my whole setup there, trying a new kind of aesthetic. I was a little leery upon, you know, first looking at this, but I just thought of, you know what, I really, really, really like some Anael albums, especially the one with the snake on it. That one's really good. I like snakes. So this one I was a little, we'll see. I listened to about a third of it, and so far I do not dislike it. I think it is a lot more mature from their other stuff. You can kind of forget, I guess, that they're a Samael sort of worship band. That's not really a huge element here anymore. But I don't know, it's just a fairly mature band who have kind of risen out of the archaic sort of black metal style into something that's, you know, worth listening to. That's about all I have to say more about it. I got a stack of records here. You want to check them out? Kind of filling in a record gap that I don't know. I haven't really listened to this band a whole lot. I see this on shirts of a lot of dudes that look like they know what they're doing. So finally picked up this. I guess I would have preferred to pick it up on CD, but it's kind of hard to find. So been spinning this quite a bit. By the way, the saga of my record player which has been going on as long as I've lived out here pretty much, has finally been solved. I hired a contractor, he's a buddy of mine, he came out here and he grounded my outlet so that my records now sound as good as possible. Now, the buzz is not 100% gone. I'm still figuring out which part of my gear is doing it. Maybe it's just my speakers, but I swear to God, I've taken my receiver, my record player out to my garage where I have a PA set up and a mixing board, and I play records out there on my PA, and there is no buzz. So I don't fucking know what it is, but it's not as bad as it ever. It's better than it's ever sounded in this room, and so I've been buying records lately that are gonna sound great in here finally with the buzz gone. Yeah. But this is a Swedish band, if you don't know, kind of following in the footsteps of Entombed's Left Hand Path. But there's a lot of bands I think they're doing that in some ways, like Ultratomb is one of them, but I don't know. These guys just kind of have their own spin on it. They're doing it good. And it's just always been like a tragedy that Entombed wasn't able to follow up Left Hand Path with anything nearly as good as that was. Just hard act to follow, but yeah, what happened with Entombed wasn't great. Same with Dismember and Grave. So my homie Brandon came through in the clutch with Eroded Thoughts. R.I.P. Ted Van Tilburg. Dude passed away last week, I want to say. I don't know much about it, but I think he was in poor health. Ted was also in Unnatural with the soon-to-be retired Ken Escobedo. Cheers, Ken. But so this was just one of my favorite B tier. I would almost even argue that it's an A tier kind of thing for me personally. Records of all time. It's one of the first Midwest, dude, distractingly good riff. That rules. I got into this really early on, and it's always been a favorite of mine. And this is the Crypt reissue of it. Wait, this is actually the Crypt and Dark Descent. Kind of hard to find copies of this thing, so Brandon threw one my way because he's my dog. Just black vinyl. Yeah, if you haven't heard this and you like death metal, you're stupid. It's your fault and you're stupid. So stop everything. The next time you put on any album, make it Eroded Thoughts. Just do it. There's no reason to dislike it. Picked this up in my local store the other day. I go in there, they have every new release on record from every metal band. Not everyone, like, okay, they got all the $20 spins, they got all the Dark Descent shit, they got all the big name stuff. I say they have everything, but they don't really have everything. But it's just like a portrait of what a record store in a bigger city must be like, because they have a great selection of a lot of great stuff, a lot of killer bands. They've got like every Darkthrone. It's wild to me that I can walk into a record store in Iowa and they have every Darkthrone on vinyl. The catch is they're like $38 for everything. Everything there is pricey. It's a bigger city market. They do move a lot of vinyl, and I think they must be paying a pretty good cut to a distributor for their services. So I'm always like, I'm inclined to support my local record store, as of course I am. But I always wind up just getting something that's not as expensive as all the other things are. So I usually kind of wind up settling for things that I might not ordinarily go out of my way to purchase. I'm sure you know the story, but Demon Sea are one of my favorite black metal bands. But they've just been kind of like letting me down the last couple of years. So I've listened to this twice. The first time I was blown away, absolutely blown away. I loved it and thought, damn it, gotta get it. The EP that they did on, I think, was it on Hell's Headbangers? Might need to give that another listen, but I was gonna skip that one. This one though is on Dark Descent, and it's good. I believe musically it's really, really good, but I thought the vocals on this were kind of cheesy. I know that Existra is capable of doing the best black metal record you're gonna hear. I don't really know what's up with the guy. The thing about the vocals on this thing is it's just like whispers, and it just it might just be my mood that I'm not really feeling black metal lately. A couple more and I'm gonna get out of your hair. So I kind of splurged when dude, this Trog fucking rules. When I was getting the work done on the outlet, and I was really excited to be playing records in here, and I still am. I kind of splurged at $20 spin. I was looking for one thing at $20 spin, mainly because I wasn't able to find it on CD, and I still would prefer to have this on CD. But I just I kept throwing records in the basket, and I went a little crazy. Crazy for me. I know a lot of guys out there who drop fucking $400 in a heartbeat, and that is insane. I do not do that. But I picked up 3. Solstice, New Dark Age. It's a band I've been kind of like cat-footing around the last couple of years. My homie Tanner from Obsequiae is a big fan of this band, and I've always been kind of like, that trad metal, I don't really like it, I don't care for it. So I've listened to this here and there. I've been dipping in on this more and more lately, and it has been more and more to my liking, and I just decided to finally pull the trigger on it. The thing is, they're a challenging band, and I'm still working my way through how I feel about them, but they're riff crafters of the highest order. Some people think of them as an epic doom band. They're kind of a lot of things. They're traditional heavy metal sometimes. They have some killer tremolo breakdown kind of stuff. They really throw the gamut at you. It's really unpredictable of a listen for an album. And I'm fine with all of that. But the vocalist for me is just a little too vanilla. It's not that evocative of a vocalist to me. So I don't know. I'm just kind of working through some of my challenges with the album, with the band, with the record. I think it's great. I think it's got a lot of really, really great, smart parts here and there. They're super talented. They're just doing what they want to do. Floga put this out this year. Good looking vinyl here. I will show you. But I will complain about every single one of the last 3 records here. This is 3 different reasons that I absolutely think vinyl sucks in 2024. So these things do not go in to the jacket very well, and if you do eventually get them jammed in there, they stick out this much. So why even fucking bother jamming them in there? Minor gripe, but just fucking why? Why do we do this? And then also picked up an album I've been wanting to revisit on my own volition for many, many, many years. Way too long. I put this on the other night and just it dragged me out into the road and beat the living crap out of me. It's such a good record. Osmos did this one. I think it's kind of gimmicky how a lot of us fucking metal vinyl dorks go, look at how the color on the vinyl matches the color on the record. Isn't that amazing? I can't believe it. It's not that hard to do, guys. But here's my gripe. Again, you put the record in the sleeve, but then you put this jacket that I'm never going to use in the other jacket. Why don't you just make it a lyric sheet? Why not? Anyways, good spot gloss, looks good. Yeah, I know, I'm a grumpy old man. You're gonna have to fucking deal with it. And then last but not least, maybe the worst, maybe the one that pissed me off. Oh, I love this record. Everybody should love this record. This is one of the greatest 90s black metal records of all time. Heaven Shall Burn. Now, I fucking hate this cover art. What they did to the cover art. I love the original cover. But again, the stupid sleeve won't go all the way in. It's got a big wrinkle here from the fold. And again, yeah, the discoloration of the cover art is an atrocity. I fucking hate when they do this. Change the artwork altogether if you gotta do something stupid to it. I don't understand that. And the vinyl does look real pretty. So that's the end of the Trog, and that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for watching. I hope I do feel more like doing this as we trudge on to the end of our lives. And bye-bye. Hope you're all doing well.
Woohoo! That was a great video, and it was made possible mostly by me, but also thanks to the undying and kind support of my Patreon subscribers. Thank you all. I love you. If you are interested in being a part of my Patreon channel and supporting what I do, you are welcome to join at the URL below. It is only $6.66 per month, and you're going to love it.